Hey, this is Cream Rises with the Consciousness Consultant and GLook. Uh, we are currently in two different locations, as we often are, and today we're gonna address the attitude that you should have as life throws them curveballs and low and high, good, bad. What's your attitude as life moves on? Uh,
Right.
that's going to be the subject. And just full disclosure, as you guys check in, we just love it. We love your comments. Like and subscribe. Let us know. Hit us back. Let us know some subjects you'd like to get a higher consciousness on. Also, the purpose of this show sometimes it gets lost in the mix. I was at a funeral yesterday, and a couple of people that watched the show were actually there, and they just said they really love for us to let everybody else know the purpose of the show, which is to get you to the apex of where you know where you're headed, and you actually have a destination to go with spirit and soul, and how you navigate in the meantime to make it more pleasant, plausible, and a direct, conscious way of how you get down in your life and in your spirit, be so that you can have that connection with God and get up out of here and not back after you believe you have lifetimes that you have existed here and you will come back. And it's a lot of Christian principles in our walk, a lot of uh, all types of spiritual and religious context, wise men, uh, input, all of that mixed together with a basic spiritual principle is what we're trying to pour back into you so you can help your kids and help yourself redirect. I personally think the older you get, it's hard to redirect. So, and then we do the point of view of an old guy, which is a baby boomer, and a young guy who is consciousness, who is actually a millennial. So we
Mm.
actually see things in this world how to navigate a little bit differently, but at the end of the day, when your ass is dead, that body spent, do you want to come back here, or do you want to be with the Most High in full bliss? It's that's the cream rises. We
Right.
also
Right.
use a horse community since that's my platform, but we have actually our platform is much larger than that. But we use that because that is a great gateway for family conversations. There's kids around, there's macho men, there's beautiful ladies, there's all the elements. It's actually a great environment to have open discussion about how you can unite and be a better as a people. But you can't be better as a people unless you better by your damn self. Really, you. How you doing here this morning? Good consciousness consultant. How you doing this Sunday morning, bro?
Man, I'm good. I'm good, and yeah, I'm blessed to be right here and have what God is showing me, and have grace in my life, and feel connected to God through my whole walk in this human experience in His body. So I feel, I'm always graced to have consciousness and have awareness and be one with that. How about you? You good? I know you had that funeral yesterday. How was
Yeah,
that?
yeah, that's different because I don't go to funerals. I don't really
Yeah.
don't do funerals. I try not to do weddings. I try to do rituals. I don't like.
Yeah.
I mean, but I like niggas coming out the tunnel before the football game, and I like to see the warrior right before the fight walking into the. Some rituals I do like, you know,
Yeah.
but I don't
Yeah.
like and shit. But yesterday, I realized that sometimes you be there, it ain't really. It's never for the dead person. That feeling either he's back here as something else, or he's made his way. So, but
Right, right.
people in that empty void and that good memory are just reassuring that they picked the right person to be a friend, and when they see other people sharing and mourning with them, they'll feel like they didn't waste their time being involved with that person, because that person was had other value to other people that let you know that you had a good friend or husband or daddy or whatever the motherfucker was to you.
Right, right. Yeah, and
So,
I think that's a good way to segue into, just so they know what the point of this episode is.
mhm,
Like I said, we streaming live because you out there. You in Temecula, right?
yeah,
And I'm out here. I'm in Irvine, and so we want to do a live one today, which we like the interactiveness of the live one and all the different settings we have. But today, I really wanted to talk about when I say attitude, talking about your fundamental uh, attitude and approach to life. And when I say that, what I mean is obviously, many of us have lived more than a few years or so, or 12 years or so. You realize that life can be like a roller coaster. Got a lot of ups and downs, a lot of things that you want that you don't get, and vice versa. Things that you get, things that you lose, things that you want to happen a certain way and they don't happen a certain way. Seemingly looking like people might be against you sometimes, or just putting their stuff on you, or vice versa, or just natural disasters, and just sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's hot. Sometimes the check don't clear. Like there's a lot of things that happen in this place, and I feel like I really want to tap into people so they can understand my fundamental dynamic of how I approach life, and what I think the highest way is, regardless of what you do here, or with the cards you was dealt, or what body you in, or what country you live in, or family dynamic, anything like that, and I can go on and on. But I want to talk about that because I think there's this chasm between when beings talk from a high space and spirituality, and and higher knowledge, and what's fundamentally in someone to help them have that experience, and then regular humanity. I think people feel a chasm. I think there's a lack of understanding how what really are some keys to that. So
right,
today I want to talk about the key, one of the keys to that, and I feel like I just wanted to clarify this. I found my initial relationship with God came through what you call Christianity. I call it the way, just what Jesus was, his philosophy, and how they biblically made, put that in the Bible, made a religion. But the way the way that Jesus saw things is kind of fundamentally how I was introduced to my relationship with God. I see it in all other things too. That's just my fundamental way. So I use those terms a lot, but I think a lot of other worldviews and Buddhists and Hindus, you say it in their own way. So God is in everything and all things. Just depends on how you are wired, and how you see stuff, and how your personality type is. But back to the point, clarifying that to say, there's some scriptures in the Bible that say, um, they're kind of hard to understand until you understand. And I want to talk about it a little bit. When they say, when all kind of trials and tribulations and the hardships of life happen, we hold our head high with joy, with fundamental joy in our heart, because we know our faith is being proven as greater worth than gold. It's a lot of scriptures in the Bible that talk like that, right? They say, oh, when they come and say that to you and they persecute you, or when the waves crash and all that kind of stuff, we worship because we know that what we know of is being approved by the world.
right,
And so I want to just kind of dive into that, because I feel like otherwise you're going to be on a roller coaster up and down internally. And I'm not saying there might not be a roller coaster in your life externally. That might be your life. That's out of your control, a lot of those things. But internally, and what I want people to understand and encourage, and just have more vulnerability where I come from, those things. It doesn't necessarily exclude us from our life, having those things happen. But I think what I feel, when I know for myself, and what I feel like I want everyone else to have, is when you find that certain faith, or that knowing and that belief, those concepts and that hope and that love within yourself that can't be shaken, because your belief has been brought to a point where it can't be shaken by things in its place, then you understand that your peace in your relationship with something higher and who you are is not dependent upon this world. It's dependent upon your view of
right,
this world. And I feel I want to share with everybody, just so they know, have clarity, that when our attitude changes, it's almost like, let me use a practical example. If you ran track, right? That,
right,
like, Jayla,
right,
when you ran track, if you knew if you was about to run in state on the anchor in state for your 4x1 relay, and you knew you had a chance to win, and you really wasn't a track person like that, and this is actually an example in my life, but but when you run in practice, you almost feel even when you running those 200s and you doing those things to practice and you doing the handoffs and all that stuff, you feel honored to do it, even if it may be hard or difficult. It don't even be seeming hard to you in that kind of way. It seems like whatever
Right.
come with this, I'm with it because I get to run anchor on the
Right.
state relay, and I know that I really didn't even like track like that. One and two, I'm not even the fastest on the team, but
Right.
I get to do that, so everything is like an honor, right? And
Yeah.
so I feel like spirituality is a lot of it is it's how you perceive yourself couched in life, and how you perceive what that means in your life is a lot of these things, and that's why a lot of spirituality is talking points and perspectives and giving you references, whether they're biblical or from the Upanishads or just different religions or just even certain people in your life. So
All
back
right.
to the point.
So hold your thought there. I just want to tell everybody, got people come in late. Hey, welcome to the Cream Rises. Today we just going just hit on enjoying the ride.
Yeah,
I would just call it. And G's just kind of hitting on the attitude we should have as we move in this place. I just want to just tell everybody, give us a thumbs up. Keep looking at us. We are growing. Subscribe and share. Um, sometimes we're a little whimsical with it. Today, we're trying to get to some grassroots points. You guys see
mm,
anything about our hats, and the hat that G has on and the hat that I have on, and that is the California Longhorn, which is our hat for our GLook Corral hat. It's really about the bliss of coming down, having to deal with everything we're dealing with, and going right back up.
mm, yeah,
That's
yeah,
what it's nothing. But on the back, we have different things. We might have black cowboy culture, or we might have barrel race culture. Or if you want something specific to your need, we can have that on the back. So just hit us in the community section or on our website, which will be posted to order the hats.
yeah,
Again, just a little commercial break. So G was just getting ready to get to the point
yeah.
about how do you be, I guess, just to subphrase it, yeah, just how to enjoy the ride of this whole thing.
Yeah, yeah, I just want to really be clear on this because I feel like in spirituality and just in life in general, but I know me being brought to be a spiritualist and be a teacher in this place and in whatever way God's vessel you want to use as vessel here, and it's just been in that vein. I feel like I want to really be clear with that because I feel like most of it is conditioning and attitude towards life, your internal attitude that you have towards life, which makes your life you see it and you experience it from the ways that we be talking about. Because if if we understand and we start to see from this place, like you saying, if your internal attitude towards your experience and towards life and towards the totality of everything shifts, then you bear everything with a certain amount of joy
So
and surrender and peace because
what what do you mean
huh?
by when you say shift? What do you mean?
When I say shift.
Yeah, you said when your attitude shifts.
Yeah. So that's why I use that one example. When I mean shift, I mean if okay, so if you knew, like you said, if you was running those 200s and you didn't even know if you was gonna make the team,
Right.
your attitude towards that is different than if you was running those 200s and you already knew that you was gonna be the anchor on the state relay. If you have
So
prophecy.
talk about that shift.
Yeah, the shift of how you are, your attitude and your approach and your view and your how you internally experience what's happening is the spiritual part that changes, that makes you have an elevated space because it's not so much about the external things because everything is leading to a point for you, and everything that's happening is perfectly set up for you. You start to see these things that we talk about that can't be seen a lot of times by people when we say it's perfect or life is set up
So
and
so
destined.
I'm just trying to be, fully transparent for the layman's. It's hard to follow sometimes. Uh,
Mm,
if you take a girl out 2 times, you pay for dinner, y'all hint, you think it might be something there, but if the girl give you a kiss on the cheek on that third date, or she winks, or she calls you in the middle of the night and say, "Hey, that was great. I can't wait to see you again." Now your endorphins change, your purpose change, you are edified in that's a thing. You'll have value to that person. You don't
right.
because she kissed you or told you that. So then you change.
Right.
You change. You
Right. Right.
think you do, but you do. Right.
Right. Yeah.
So is that you saying practicing the art of staying in that space as we move through here with everything?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, yeah, going to fundamentally what your spirituality is pointing to. Because if you do have that, that don't mean that when the gun go off, you might not jump and get scared, or you want to jump off the cliff or nothing. If you like, I'm not saying those things, but fundamentally, when I say fundamentally, I mean your internal experience. You gonna have a peace and a joy, and you're gonna experience it differently because you're seeing differently because of how you what you know and what your faith is in and what you've been shown inside of yourself and your attitude towards what you think life is doing. Because if you think that these are all spiritual concepts that change inside of us, if you know that life is for you, if you feel life is for you, then you're not gonna have life is not gonna be so edgy for you, because even if the things that seem bad or seem like they might be against or are hard or may have not went the way you want, overall life is for you. If you
Right.
know that if you feel that everything that happens in your life is leading you to be exactly what you are, then even the things that seem like dips and waves and sweats, you're going to bear them with a certain amount of joy, and you're going to experience them differently because you know that something higher has set that up for it to be that way. If you know that if you go on a date with a girl that eventually you're going to get the girl, then your perception of the dates and stuff are different, the money you spend and all that stuff, right? And even if you did, and then knowing that even if you didn't get the girl, you knew that that was perfect because that wasn't the girl for you. So if you have both those things, that attitude in yourself, then everything you do or everything that happens or everything that life presents to you, you going bear it with a certain amount of contentment and joy and peace, and you're gonna see higher things in it. You're gonna see what we call God things in it and divine things, and because you're open and your system is relaxing, you have space to see things that you wouldn't see normally. Just like we talk about in track, if you're a fast dude, like say Brayshawn Nellum, when we was in, who was one of the fastest high school kids ever, probably saw things differently when he ran than someone that barely could make the team because his space was different. He already knew, you know what I mean? He the way
So,
he
so, I,
experienced it.
so here's my pushback on that because I believe that life is for you. And that might be the title of this particular opportunity. Like life
Uh-huh.
is for you,
Right.
right? But some motherfuckers are better than other motherfuckers. So you feel like 1,000 niggas that attract me to all comers meet are
Um,
better than the dude that's on the freshman team that just came along. Like he might not be better, but in that moment better. So
yeah.
so so I know that looking at something in a world view and a whole global and a whole I call it a molecule view where everything is colored and staged and it's your space. It's kind of like what the endorphin you get when you run long distance and you get to a certain place or you working out in the gym. You
Hmm.
that like there's an endorphin that you get that make you feel like this is the perfect space for me to be at this time and I'm at my most high, you know,
Right.
bliss, you know what I'm saying? And to walk in that when you're interacting with other people who are doing the same thing, that calls for an hierarchy now.
Right. But you're right. But I'm saying, so that's the good point. Good point. What
Competing,
I'm
not
talking.
and you competing with yourself like a marathon where you're going against yourself to finish or your own time. I'm talking about them two Africans in the front that's running against each other, that's beating out everybody else. Part of their shit is they beat everybody else. Then they it narrow it down to them other five motherfuckers that's always in the front at all the marathons.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But that wouldn't be the measure of what I'm talking about though. That'd be a worldly measure that can give you a hit of thing because he could break his leg the next meet, and then how's he gonna feel? So like it's more about, does he see all that, whether he broke his leg or whether he was the number fastest guy the whole time? Like I said, his attitude towards the whole thing.
Yeah.
So what you saying is a good point because, like you said, if Brayshawn is that good, then maybe he feeling like his stuff is coming from I'm just the best. But even that wouldn't be, somebody that's slower to him could be having a very peaceful experience. Being slower to him, and Brayshawn could be having a very tumultuous experience.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah,
the difference between I'm the best and I'm at my best. I get
Right.
that's what I describe, and I get that. But
Yeah.
yeah, this show is to call people to be at their best.
Right.
Be at your best. You know what I'm saying? Be at your
Yeah.
spiritual best. I get what you're saying. Because
Mm.
if you left, right, or peak left, right, you're gonna see motherfuckers that's better than you if you're gonna measure it in any type of way. I just
Well,
want people.
that's one of the loopholes. Yeah. Well, that's one of the loopholes of the spiritual. That's one of the cul-de-sacs you got to cross.
Yeah,
I
that's what I'm
call them
saying.
I call them thresholds. You know, they one of the it's a lot of thresholds and loopholes and cul-de-sacs in your life to get to your spiritual apex, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
definitely one of them.
get, just the Rihanna. Rihanna's gonna be at the if she have a line to say, I'm gonna just have sex with all the niggas in my line, and then that homeless lady down the street has a line. Whose line is gonna be longer? They both doing the same thing. One motherfucking line is gonna be long, right? Right. It's a reason why, right? Nigga with the short line has to be hey with hey, I'm at my best. I got like 5 motherfuckers in my line. This bitch got 3 weeks worth of reservations in her line, right? So don't look left, right. If you go,
No.
that's all I'm saying. If you're gonna practice what the consciousness consultant is telling you how to be in this place and enjoy and absorb this shit. I mean, give me a practical then, G, because
So
you by
so
yourself.
yeah. Yeah, no. So my practical is yeah, that's a good question. No, my practical is not don't look left, right. Obviously you have your own meditation times and your own stuff, but it's not about that because when you get to that point, you understand that everybody's thing that they got going is perfect for them and yours is perfect for you.
I
So
see.
you transcend, you start to see things in a perfect way because you like even if somebody was a singer like you and you feel like they was more famous or a better singer, you wouldn't look at them and be like, damn, it wouldn't take your peace away
Right,
because your understanding has grown so much in your perception of how you see life and what your thing is. Life has shown you, by understanding our attitude towards how we are the life we was given. So
right,
we was given a lot, and then so you could see all because the thing about it is when you live like that you miss all the beauty in your own life
right,
because
right,
you
right,
know what
right.
I mean. You don't realize that God has glory. There's glory, and every life has glory, and it's not just by the glory that the social programming has us have, right? And I'm not saying that's not a part of it too, to a degree, but there's people you could tell. I know people like this too. There's people that still have some worldly ambition to where they want to have achieve something, but they do it with a peace because they know, like, you know what, I feel I'm supposed to go this way, but whatever come with it, I'm gonna be cool with it because I'm on a journey with it. I'm okay with that. I know I'm doing this because it's something true for me. I feel, so there's higher things inside of us and higher ways to experience. And those measures that you're talking about are just supposed to be measures for certain things. They're not supposed to be something we live off of, right? So it's
Right.
like, it's like that side of the pool is deeper than that one, but that's not supposed to make a better or worse because if someone can't swim, then the shallow end is deeper. I mean, it's better. And if one like to dive, then the deep end is deeper. And so these are perception things. And if we do have competitions and commonalities in this place as humans that we do, whether we racing or we comparing. But we need to know that that's an illusion as far as our peace and our happiness. Those things are just references that we use for that if we want to participate in something or see where we stand in people's perception, but that
Right.
can never overwhelm like our true peace and happiness, which has to come from within, which
Right.
comes from an understanding that, man, my lot in life is perfect. God has given me these cards, and then when you surrender to that, you could see every moment and every the beautifulness and the perfection of why God has your life how it is,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
because you're not so focused on dang think I should be LeBron James
And
that you can't even see, huh?
um and you become beautiful to other
R-
people
Right, right.
because you're in your own space. You are you. You are unique.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the difference between somebody just waving a flag and saying, trying to double down on their own beauty by proclaiming it. You know, unattractive, big old fat black. I am beautiful because I am me. Doesn't they have to say that don't make you beautiful? That would make you be beautiful. You be 100% who you are, That makes you beautiful. And and most of the world's not gonna be attracted to you. If you're they, oh, it's over, nigga. You might be the finest thing there, but in America, you're not gonna be. If you a short nigga with bumps on your head, kind of a funny shaped head and shit, you just not gonna be attractive in America because we every bell and whistle makes it attractive. So, you know what I'm saying? If you just say I'm beautiful 1,000 times, you still a short. You know what I'm saying? But if you are a beautiful person,
Yeah.
edified, because that shit comes off as energy. The cream does rise. You when you next to a person that is completely vibing with self spiritual confidence and enjoys every second of every moment that he is allowed to enjoy, then
Right.
that you want to be around them. And then all of a
Right.
sudden they are beautiful. They are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
That's why the girl always ends up the little dude that's scared to ask her out, the ugly nigga in elementary and the unattractive, socially awkward guy ends up with that same broad or having
Yeah.
the opportunity to be with that broad that's dating them old niggas and them pretty dudes, right?
Right, right.
Yeah,
Or just our definitions change, like you say. It's not just so
right.
absolute, like you gotta be with her. Now, what if you just get to be friends and they exchange? Like it's different levels of what people really get. You start realizing that your life is concocted perfectly for you to get out of it what God, what you really are, and it's not the standard. I feel like that's when our spirituality does it transcends certain standards that we think that we was put on us instead of the standard that really is within us. That's why they say before you 12 you got to get back to what happened like before you was 10 and 12 and how you really was
Right.
naturally is how you really are because you wasn't living you wasn't defined by external standards. So then
Right.
people miss the point of like of it, how they don't see, they don't have an attitude to their life to see the beauty and the perfection and the proximity they get to have to certain things or what they
Right.
role should be in that because they just think, oh, that's supposed to be my girl, or I'm supposed to have $1 million, or it's all
Right.
these roles that make you miss all the beauty of like, what if that shit is supposed to be your friend and you get more from that, or what if that's supposed to have 500,000 and that you understand that now, or you supposed to be 5'11", like you would start to see that, and so this is a practice, like you saying that some raw truths of like physical world and what the pressure that's on people, you reminding people of the
Yeah.
pressure that come within a human experience, and I'm just trying to show people a pointer at relieving that pressure, going into yourself and starting with this surrender and this acceptance of your life as is, and starting to change your attitude just to being like it's a
So,
gratitude attitude.
I mean, just to pose to everybody that is tuning in that finds some worth or value out of what you are sharing or what we are exposing as far as this human condition and the walk, they
Mm,
need to know that. So when I share like that, I want them to know that they are not alone with
yeah.
the with that challenge.
Yeah.
Like, man, can
Yeah.
you just wake up one day and just know
It-
that everything's beautiful without I mean, you could. Everything's possible, but you still got the world around you. You still got commercials. You still got to go to work. You got to go to the store. If you
yeah.
live in, and I'm just only speaking from a person in the metropolitan LA area, which is a
Right.
lot of, or even if you had a trail ride with a whole bunch of people, or a mass yoga. What y'all had down there in Long Beach where that dude get a yoga thing? It'd be like hundreds of motherfuckers down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, some of them is pretty, some ain't, some stinking, some fat, some is just gorgeous. It's like if you are going to be in a lockstep with God's peace, which is what you're talking about,
Mm,
have that peace with everything, then you have to know that it's okay if you peek left, right, and you're discouraged. That's part of the game. That's part of it too. Like
yeah.
you said, those events make you overcoming that makes you even stronger, like you had said at the beginning. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. So I just pulled the veil back for the people so they don't
Yeah.
think like nigga, just put them skates on and start skating. Like,
No.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, no. This is an encouragement to me too. Yeah, it's definitely
But you
for
can.
most.
If you don't think if you don't know what falling is, you can put the skates on and start skating. But hey,
Yeah,
nigga, you in
yeah,
the world, you gonna fall. You know, know what falling is. So,
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think it goes back to, and I'm gonna end with this. 'Cause I think we're going over a little time here, but I want to say this. It goes back to, I'm just simplify it. I know a lot of things can seem complicated, but I'm gonna simplify it. When Jesus says, "Unless you become like a child, you can't be born again. You can't enter the kingdom of heaven."
wow.
So, I think there's a clarity I want to say on that, and that goes back to just bring all this home. Not like a child in a way of your intellect or anything like. It's not what he was talking about. He was talking about the internal attitude and the approach to life that a child has.
Right.
So he's saying, unless you become like that, you can't enter the kingdom of heaven, because you have to have that internal, that attitude that a 6 year old or 7 year old has to their day
Three,
and to
three,
life, as far as, huh?
yeah, 2 or 3 now, but 6, 7, they gone.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm saying when I'm pointing at whatever age you that stopped for you. Some people younger than others, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean. When you had that wonder, that awe, and that attitude of that openness to, like,
Yeah.
okay, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, everything's, when you have that,
Mhm.
then you can see what we call God and the kingdom of God, because that's the space that it comes from. Obviously, you can still have your gifts and your intellect, and your wisdoms and all that stuff, and whatever you do in this place, what you feeling as an adult. But fundamentally speaking, that's what I'm talking about when I say the attitude. This attitude towards life comes from, it's a childlike heart with it, which, it's not a moral thing. It's not a good or a bad thing. It's not a oh, I can't know stuff thing. It's just a internal attitude towards the cards you was dealt in the life God gave you, and how that you perceive that and how you experience that in your own wonder into that, in your own way that you receive your life, the way you should receive it. And so, um, if we
Right.
have that as an adult, then our life, we can see things differently. I'm not saying that we still not gonna have experiences that may not. We still gonna have preferences. I'm not saying you're not gonna have preference.
Right.
Rather that than that. I'm not gonna say that you're not gonna say, like, damn, like damn, that's crazy that's happening, or wow, that's, I'm not saying you're not gonna have survival fears, like, man, I don't wanna jump off that cliff. Like, that's cool. But you're gonna be okay with your life. You're gonna be at
Right.
peace with your life, and you're gonna always have further more peace and have a space of, like, contentment and grace and love in your heart, because you're gonna look at every situation as a way to see God, to see that peace, and to see that that could be linked to something higher, or see the perfection in it, because
Right.
you know that there's so much more happening, and you just open to the levels of the wonder of the place. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so your life ain't so tight and edgy and rigid, and then so you can experience His life highly, because then even your judgment of yourself, your own physical body, or what you have or don't have, or how much money, or who can sing or run fast, or businesses, like, you won't be so edgy and tight with that, because you start to see that within your own self. And that is what I'm pointing at. And obviously there's way more to divulge in this, way more to unpack.
So,
Nobody,
so
you know what I mean?
what's a simple practical?
I think a simple practical is, like I said, hearing these things. I think a lot of us are taught. It's a program, and I think we need to be reprogrammed or deprogrammed. So I think even listening to this type of stuff, I know in my experience, listening to somebody say these type of things from the spirit, the energy behind it, and then receiving it, meditating on it, um, practicing fundamental things, like being in a situation where your food burnt. This little stuff. Oh, you burnt the food, and then trying to use them kind of situations where you could be like, damn, I didn't want the food to be burnt, but how can what's my attitude towards this, to where I can see this and experience this? Just put it to practice too, in little things, not just the bills, or like, oh, I didn't get this car or nothing like that, just little stuff. But I think receiving and hearing, it says in the Bible, that our faith is built by us hearing the word, hearing the truth.
Oh,
One of my other our other brothers, Muji, who I really like, he says, you came into illusion by repetition, so you come into truth by repetition. It's a
that
practice. So it's a
that
practice. So I feel like most of us should start surrounding ourselves with the things that we feel, what we listen to, all these type of things that is going to reprogram or deprogram things in us that cause us friction and ill intent inside of ourselves, and we can feed ourselves, by conditioning ourselves to see things different ways, by repetition of the truth, listening to the truth, communion like we're doing now. This is called, church and communion with one another, brothers and sisters in the truth, reflecting it to ourselves, meditating on it, these type of things like that. It don't take away your other life, because whatever you love, you still gonna do,
Well, that's
but
right.
you'll
Yeah,
love
they
you.
have to make a choice. They have to make a choice on that. So, so I'm like out on people do what they want to do. So,
Right.
so we do
But I'm not gonna say.
it. That nigga, if you deciding to be a better person and listen to repetition, if you can go that way, then you can't do all the other shit that you're doing and struggle with it. You know, then you didn't want to do shit. You being nice. Kind yeah. If you read the moves, your cream rises, and you making a shift in your spiritual consciousness and in your life, then you ain't at the club up just drinking, trying to find colors in other things. That- you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna hit on that, and everybody listening to this motherfucker know what I'm talking about, right? I am saying though, just thank you guys for tuning in to Cream Rises.
Yeah.
We are life is for living, life is for you, and I'm just appreciate consciousness giving us that direction and that charge to try to look into enjoying everything that God has put before you and having peace with wherever you at with everything. And
Yeah.
sometimes we show up to places they see us grinning and laughing like we doing now and really enjoying shit and people be around really thumbed up tight. And they be having an agenda. Like, what's these niggas so damn happy and enjoying this shit, and by horses and made jokes out of used the shit and just forgave people because it's the walk, you
Right.
know. And so sometimes, you're gonna appear to be like say in the Bible, to some you're gonna be light, to others
Right.
you be like everything takes to death because you shifting the whole situation, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
anyway, I'll let you guys out. That's 37 minutes, of just Sunday morning worship with the cream rice. You know. So, hey,
Yeah.
keep sending us those texts and those emails. You can also use the Cash App on there to help us, get it together and make our situation a little bit better, show a little bit of appreciation. Also, we got one coming up on Wednesday, but we got some announcements about our barrel races that's coming this spring and some of our other events, some other hat coming out, some other merch that we're about to come out with cream ride, things like that. So share, like, and subscribe. And we just love everybody. And okay, anything important consciousness?
No, I think that's pretty much we ended it. Like I said, just you said you touched all the things. I just want to
Okay.
encourage everybody just to one practice if things don't feel overwhelmed. Just start if you really feel led, start feeding yourself and surrounding yourself with those type of truths and ideals and words and movies. Even like do everything. I just want everybody to know too. Another thing for me, movies is a big way for me to absorb truth. Um, the visual plus the words of those things. So certain movies are beautiful for that. It's not only just the Bible and other holy books and stuff like that. Any other book that gives you that. There's audio, there's YouTube now, there's other beings you could talk to about those type of things. Whatever gives you that and bursts that within you. So I just want to say that because I know that's what people want, some practicals, and I'm really uh my two beings that I call my brothers are my masters that led me into this was Jesus and Muji's one of them. We have the same practice, which is that repetition of the word of the truth and absorbing yourself in it and still living and having like it ain't no moral like do what you do, but if that's your primary heart, whatever your primary heart is where you're gonna be pulled to. So I just want to say that and thank y'all for tuning in. It's all love, it's all grace and peace and yeah, like, share, comment, subscribe, donate if you feel blessed, and we keep tapping in, man. We got the rest of the year ahead of us, and we enjoying every moment. So it's all beautiful.
All right. All
Yeah.
right then. What to do? You guys have a blessed Sunday. Y'all stay up.
All right. All right.